Welcome to Daily Dose of Hope. This is Brandy M. Miller. I am your hostess. And today I want to talk about the role that expectations play in blocking you from receiving abundance, finding reasons for hope, achieving your dreams, and a whole host of other things in your life. Your expectations for what's possible is set based on information you received in your past. It may be set based on past experiences you've had, past things that you've been taught, and past understandings of how things work. So for instance, a lot of people know about Genesis chapter 1. That's the chapter where God creates an entire universe in just 6 days. Now, science likes to tell us that's not possible because, well, we can't prove that it's possible. We can't recreate that ourselves yet, and so it's dismissed as an impossibility. And I would have tended to agree. I would have agreed with you if you told me it was impossible. It was a real puzzle to me how we can stand on scripture when we start the very book with something that is so clearly not possible. Why would we hold on to Genesis 1? What's important about it? And it wasn't until I was pursuing a dream of my own that I got a whole new insight into Genesis 1 and the possibilities that it offers for humanity's future and for our own, as individuals. And the way that our expectations can actually block us from seeing possibilities that may exist. All right, so I'll walk you through the story. It was September of 2019, and I got this dream of creating a game for writers where they would be having fun as they're writing, be encouraged to write daily, be guided in writing better content, producing stories that were more meaningful and that readers would respond and react to better, and kind of mixing and mingling writers and artists and publishers together in this space. And it's a beautiful vision, really powerful. And there's only one problem. I did not know how to code. I would need coders to help me. And I knew two of them who were really good, my husband and my stepfather. There's only one problem. They weren't interested. They didn't care about my project. They weren't invested in it. It wasn't their dream. It wasn't their vision. And no matter how much I tried to get them to help me or to convince them to work with me, they just weren't in it. So 9 months later, I had this moment in March of 2020 where I realized, you know what? I could either let my dream die because I couldn't get somebody else on board with me, or I could step up to the plate, own my vision and my dream, and decide to go forward and learn what I needed to know to make it a reality. That led to a whole lot of work on my part. I chose Unity for the game engine, and Unity used C#. So I spent agonizing months learning to code in C#, not knowing where this was going to take me, not knowing if I could make my dream a success or not. But it was after finishing a procedural terrain generation course that something in me unlocked. And I started looking at Genesis 1 in a whole new light. It was this moment where I realized, you know what, with procedural terrain generation, with procedural universe creation, you can create an entire universe as a coder with the click of a button. Yeah, it may take a little time, but you can do it. And so then kind of this whole issue of the question of, did God really create the entire universe in 6 days, I realized was completely resolvable. How could he create in 6 days? Well, he coded it. And then I began looking at Genesis 1 as kind of a coder's log. Every time you see the words, and it was good, God is testing the system. The last line where God says it's very good, it means that he was done with it. Everything worked as expected. And the reason he rests on the 7th day is that's him enjoying the new system he's created. He's getting to walk around in it, to taste the fruits of his labor, so to speak, which opened up whole new way of looking at things for me for Genesis. Totally blew past my expectations for what I would find there, resolved a lot of questions I had, opened up new possibilities. So today I'm going to walk you through how Genesis 1:3 through 1:5 can be coded in very simple, plain language, because one of the problems people have had with Genesis 1 is being unscientific, supposedly, is that light is created in Genesis 1:3, but it's not until much later that the sun, the moon, the stars, and the planets are created, and they're like, well, that can't be. And so I'm going to take that Genesis 1:3 through 5 and show you how, yes, it can be. As kind of a way of demonstrating to you that sometimes it takes approaching an old topic from a totally new perspective and asking yourself, how can this be, rather than saying it can't be, to find your way to achieving your dreams, opening the door to abundance in a whole new way, or finding hope because you figured out how to solve a problem that maybe couldn't be solved before. So let's go ahead and jump into coding Genesis 1:3 through 5. I'm kind of excited about this possibility. So I'm just going to share my screen, hop over here to my online C# compiler. As you can see, it does not currently have anything in it. And so I'm going to read line Genesis 1:3. So we'll take that, copy that, because this is what we want to create. And I'm going to create a comment here. Okay. So God said, let there be light, and there was light. And what are we going to do? We're going to create a variable called light. Boom. Genesis 1:3 is done. We called it light. It is light. We're now ready to move on to Genesis 1:3 or 1:4. And if you don't know what a bool is, that just means it's a true or false. That's all it is. Either it's light or it's not light. Okay. So that's the kind of thing that that is. And we're going to go back over here to Genesis 1:4. God saw that the light was good. So now we're going to create a test variable. So God saw that the light was good. So now we're going to create a new bool is good. And we're going to set that to true because God saw that the light was good. So is the light good? Yes, that's true. Now here's where we're going to get into the fun. We're about to start the action part. He's going to separate the light from the darkness. Now, in order to take an action for the computer to actually act on these variables, we're going to have to create something called a method. That is a method that the computer will use in order to separate the light from the darkness. So we have to have darkness first. Or, well, in this case, we're going to create dark. All right, so we're going to create darkness. Darkness is what happens when the light's no longer there. And then we're going to separate the light from the darkness with another bool, but this is a bool method. So this method is just designed to help us test to see whether a condition is true and to take some action if it is true versus if it isn't. So the bool we're going to call it is light. We're going to open those parentheses and we're going to give it a parameter called separate, because that's what we want the method to do, is separate light from the dark. And then we're going to open our curly bracers because that's what you have to do when you're starting a new method. We're also going to give the closing curly bracers so we don't forget those later, because otherwise your code won't work. It wouldn't be good. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set light equal to whatever the value of separate happens to be. Okay. And now that we've done that, we're going to create a new test. So if light is true, which that's what I just wrote means, if light is true, then we're going to open these curly bracers because we want the computer to do a set of actions. And the only set of actions we want it to do right now is set darkness equals true. But if light is not true, else, okay, then we want it to do a different set of actions, which is darkness equals false. Okay, so once it's done that, because this is a Bool method, it has to return to us something. It has to tell us something. We're going to return separate. So we want to know, is separate true or not? You know, and logically, I think it might be better if we actually use darkness here. I mean, it's not wrong to do it the other way, but I think it would be better. Now, we can go ahead and we can call this method, now that we are no longer, now that we've created the method, we can make it perform the action for us. And we'll set in here is good, because that tells us whether or not, because is good is already true. So that'll set separate to true, which means that, and we're going to test our code right now. Oops, I have to clear this. We're going to test our code to see if we get any errors. Oh, yep, we did. Is light. Oh, all right. We forgot this in here. I have to declare that a bool in order for this to work. Okay, let's try it again. Perfect. No errors this time. All right, so we are now ready to do the next stage, which is Genesis 1:5. God called the light day. Okay, so we're going to come back over here. And if the light is true, we're going to go ahead and write to the console, it is day. But if it's dark, or oh, I have these variables backwards, by the way. If light is true, darkness should be false. If light is false, darkness should be true. Basically building a toggle. Even these are mistakes are easy to make in your code. God wouldn't make these mistakes, but I'm not God. All right. All right, so now when we run our code, what we should see, we've done everything correctly, is it should report that it is day. Bingo! Okay, that is Genesis 1:3 through 1:5, all done in code. And you see, it actually isn't that hard, nor does it require us to have any objects functioning yet. When you're coding, especially if you're coding a game world or something, you create the code first. You don't create the objects first. The object creation comes next, because otherwise there'd be no point to creating the object first. It's kind of a waste of time, because there's nothing for it to act on it. And if you test first, if you get your code functioning first, it's really easy to plug in and change the variables. All right, so let's make sure we haven't broken anything. That it's still day. And if I turn this to if is good is false, let me show you how that works. So we set is good to false, and now it's 9. All right, so that was Genesis 1:3 through 1:5 being coded. I hope you found this video enlightening, and I want you, the next time that you look at something that somebody else has said or that seems impossible to you, I want you to challenge yourself a little bit. Instead of saying to yourself, this is impossible, try asking, how is it possible? How would it be possible? You have no idea how many doors you will open. Just making that small mindset shift to asking how is it possible rather than assuming it is impossible because you don't see the possibilities. And that can go a long way toward helping you overcome problems, achieve your dreams, or reestablish the flow of abundance in your life. If you found this video helpful and insightful, I hope you'll consider sharing it with somebody else. If you like my videos, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you're notified when the next video comes out. Thanks for watching and have a blessed and abundant day.